Hi guys, it's Jess. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me. In this video, I am discussing, I guess what we'll call a hot topic, which is the release of J. Cole's new song, Rambling of Consciousness, Snow on the Bluff. Full disclosure, I'm not a music head. I care more about being up on the latest TV shows, sometimes movies, than I do about being up on the latest music. So I saw some ramblings about this on Twitter, but I did not care enough to go listen and investigate. A couple of my guy friends reached out though and wanted to know what my thoughts were. So I was like, okay, well, let me just, give it a listen. I'm not a huge J. Cole fan. He has a few songs that I really enjoy, but he is not talking to me. I'll just put it like that. I'm not his target audience. Like I said, he has a few songs that I enjoy, but I didn't care, honestly. So I listened to the song without a whole lot to go on. Really tried to go into it with an open mind to, hear what everybody was talking about. And this song gave me the same energy as people who want us to rephrase the term defund the police. And let me explain that. There are people who feel like that phrase is too hard for most people to understand, because if the pandemic numbers in this country are evident of anything, it's that most people really are not as smart as they think they are. So there are people who feel like we should rephrase defund the police so that more people can understand what it actually means, that it's a reallocation of resources that would allow the police to actually focus on police matters instead of the police being the go-to for almost everything involving the community. And I, even for myself, had to think through, well, damn, is it worth it to rephrase it if it means that more people will get on board? Is it worth it just to prove a point to keep a phrase as is, if it means that we can get more people on board? And after listening to this song, my conclusion is, fuck that. You need to stretch yourself, which is a phrase that my friend said last night that I really liked. If there's something that you don't understand, if there's something that offends you, if there's something that goes over your head, stretch yourself to seek the meaning. I'm exhausted with the expectation for Black people to constantly explain and defend our humanity. I'm tired. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to navigate the world as a person who is suffering under the boot of capitalism, of racism, and of misogyny, and then to also be expected to educate people about what that means with kid gloves. There are a lot of white people out there who feel like, I would love to learn about how I can be a better ally, but I would really like for someone to tell it to me less angrily. There's no gentle way for me to tell you that you were complicit in murder. How do you put a bow on that? And that's the energy that I got from J. Cole's song. In the beginning of the song, I was like, damn, I don't know who he's talking about, but I like this chick. Come to find out he's talking about No Name. And we'll get to that in a second. He's basically saying, you are so much more educated and so passionate about the state of things for Black Americans. There's so much that I don't understand. You're making me aware that there's a lot that I don't understand, but could you talk to me nicer about it? Could you educate me in a way that is more palatable for me? Because I feel threatened by you, and I'm an infantilized adult man who needs for women to mother me. Otherwise, I don't know how to deal with them. That's the energy that gave me, and it's the same energy as white people who can't handle accepting that their privilege makes them complicit in the murder of Black people. When you refuse to educate yourself or investigate or pull at the thread of the things that offend you, and you put the onus back on the oppressed group to educate you, you are basically siding with the oppressor in so many ways. That is oppressive language. You want me to prove my humanity to you in a way that's palatable for you, when I don't know a whole lot of Black women who don't try to educate at least the Black men in their immediate circles in a way that's gentle, in a way that you would think would be heard. But a huge part of what Black women are saying right now is, listen to us, please. We aren't listened to. We try a lot. I know me personally, I try a lot. I'm not always listened to. An example that I like to give people is that I did a panel discussion a while back, and a guy in the audience said, how can I be a better ally to women? And I said, you can start by just listening. Do you know what happened after that? He didn't listen. He explained to me, there must be something more. I'm coming to you like really looking for. Just listen. If you actually listen to what Black women are saying, you will get the knowledge that you seek. But if what you're actually going to be learning is that you are a part of the problem, it's not the way I'm telling you, it's what I'm telling you that you're not prepared for. And that's your responsibility to handle. I find it incredibly frustrating and incredibly triggering to expect for women, especially Black women, to be mothers, to be nurturers, and to be educators, because that's not all of our calling. Just like it's not every Black person in the world's responsibility to explain to every non-Black person what it means to navigate the world as a Black person. Everybody's not qualified to do that. Everybody's not educated enough to do that. And what really pisses me off is that there are women who will do exactly what J. Cole is saying that he would like for a woman to do, which is to gently mother and coddle him and give him this information that they themselves work to cultivate. We go out here and we educate ourselves on these things, and then you want us to in turn educate you. There are women who are willing to do that, but you have infantilized yourself to such an extent that you won't even go find those women. You stop at the first woman that you see who made you feel threatened, and you call her out. And you say, you could do this a little bit better. Maybe that's just not the woman that you need to be listening or talking to. And from what I gather, she has provided resources for people to educate themselves much in the same way that she educated herself. What more do you want women to do? We can't take the top of your head off and pour the information in. At some point, you have to do some work. And I think that in his mind, he thought that he was expressing humility by saying, I don't know these things and I'm not doing enough. True humility would have been looking at that woman's timeline, understanding and identifying and observing yourself and saying, I feel threatened by this. This woman has information that I don't have. Let me investigate to see what she's talking about that I don't know, because there's a deficit here. Let me stretch myself to see what I can figure out, to see what I can learn on my own. You felt threatened by a woman's passion, by a woman's education, and your first inclination was to tell her to change her messaging and change her tone to make it more palatable for you. If you can't receive what she's saying, she ain't talking to you. Find someone who will. It's just not fair to expect for people to make the horrors that we endure as Black people, as Black women, and then the myriad of other intersections that exist beyond those identities. It's not fair to expect for us to package those horrors in a way that's cute for you. I remember I told a man who was actually a celebrity who I went on a date with. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. He told me that Black women don't do enough to support Black men. And I said, Black women have been doing that since the dawn of time. The study of gynecology was developed because white surgeons experimented on slave women with no anesthesia and without their consent. The reason that women are able to bring life into this world is because Black women's bodies were laid on the line without their consent. Is there a cute way for me to tell you that? I don't think so. It doesn't matter how the information is packaged if you aren't prepared to receive what the information is. If you aren't prepared for someone to tell you something that is not a direct reflection of your already held beliefs, it doesn't matter who says it or how they say it. You just want your beliefs to be reinforced. Then it really pissed me off this morning when J. Cole basically was just like, I said what I said. You know, I honor that woman, I respect her, blah, 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 but I said what I said. What you said was some bullshit, though. Read the room. Black women are being harassed and raped and murdered and assaulted by the very men who we are asking to just listen to us because we want to work alongside you for all of our freedom, and we're told that we're trying to start a gender war just by talking about our own experiences. We're told, wait your turn. Black trans women are being murdered at an alarming rate, but we're not supposed to bring any light to that because there are bigger issues at hand right now. And this is the song that you decided to drop in the middle of all of this. You didn't want to hold yourself accountable. You didn't spend the entirety of this song holding yourself accountable about your own self-professed lack of knowledge. You could have made an entire song about what you didn't know and how you want to do better because your eyes have been opened, but instead you wanted to zero in on the passion that this woman showed and tell her that she needs to package her messaging differently. The call is coming from inside the house. You are the problem. You are the problem. Actual humility would have been saying, I do not know and I need to educate myself. It's nothing wrong with not knowing. It's okay to not know. But when you go so far as to criticize the people who do, what are we supposed to do with this? What did you want us to do with this song? And let me be very clear. I want for Black men to have safe spaces to be vulnerable and to express their insecurities. In fact, I want more of it. So I'm not even going to say that he shouldn't have put the song out. But as a person who is a huge fan of vulnerability, of emotional vulnerability and transparency, you also have the responsibility of respecting your audience. If I'm having a depressive episode, it's not fair for me to just call one of my friends and dump all of that on them. I have to first say, hey, do you have a minute to take up space for me? I need to vent. Vulnerability comes with the responsibility of considering your audience. Right now, Black women are struggling to be heard, and you thought that it was a good idea to put a song out telling us how to be better heard. With not much actual evidence, you just made yourself look insecure and wrong and uneducated. And on the one hand, I was telling a friend last night, I was like, maybe this was a part of some grander scheme to start the conversation, but what's next? J. Cole, what are you gonna do now? Are you going to go and educate yourself? Are you going to subscribe to a reading list? Are you going to reach out to your network and say, these are some things that I would like to learn about. Does anyone want to come with me? What's the next part? Okay, you're insecure about your knowledge of Black people, Black history, systemic racism. You want to be educated. Great. What's the next step? Because what you did was attacked a Black woman for being passionate about her people. I don't understand that. And I say it's triggering because I myself have dated men who have shut down or come at me with hostility because I use a phrase or a word or a term that they don't understand. And it's, well, why couldn't you just say X, Y, and Z? And I'm always like, why couldn't you just ask me what it meant? Because I'm happy to tell you. You know, for people who want to be coddled with this information, there are actually people out there who will educate you in a way that is more gentle or more palatable, but you won't even do the work to seek those people. You want whatever person you run up on to contort themselves to accommodate you. You weren't even willing to do enough work to find a person who's willing to educate you. Stretch yourself. If we know anything right now, is that the liberation of our race at every intersection is going to require everybody to get introspective, to do some self-work, to do some self-learning, to do some independent study, and to identify whatever privilege you have and the ways in which you got that privilege and that you can extend it to help someone else. Everybody got to do their own work. And this is just a microcosm of what happens in so many relationships, platonic or otherwise, between Black women and Black men, where we are expected to mother everybody. Every Black woman is not a mother. Every Black woman is not a nurturer. Every Black woman is not a healer. Every Black woman is not an educator, but those Black women do exist. Go find them, but do not run up on any of us and tell us who we should be to make you more comfortable. I'm fed up with that shit. And I think with J. Cole, people have this idea that he is somehow smarter than the average rapper. He's just talking about different content. He's just offering different subject matter. He's not really saying anything profound. He's just saying something different. If all you've been listening to is Future, and then you listen to J. Cole, by comparison, you think, oh, this person is smarter than this person. And he's talking to a very specific brand of dudes who think that because they went to college, that they somehow have superior knowledge. Well, honey, most of us went to college, but a lot of what I've learned, especially when it comes to the experience of Black people, is work that I had to do on my own. It's work that I had to learn on my own. Why aren't you willing to learn anything on your own? And it's a cop-out to say, well, I'm just uninformed. Then inform yourself. Okay? Like, nobody is born knowing everything. There are people who are just willing to do the work, and if you're unwilling to do the work, you don't get to be critical of the people who are. What the fuck? Yeah, that's all I got. This is a really difficult time for me because I'm really tired of trying to be heard and to be seen and to be respected by my own men. It feels like y'all aren't gonna get it. When we try to have gentle conversations with you, we're shut down and we're told that we're trying to start a gender war. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants the divisiveness. Nobody wants that. We're saying that in order for all of us to be free, all of us have to be free. And you need to learn the ways that you are preventing some of us from being free. Why is that such a bad thing to say? Why are you so threatened by that? What more do y'all need? We're out here literally dying. And that's not enough for y'all to wake up to the fact that you could be doing more to support Black women. And maybe I need to say, not all, sure. You would assume that that's a given, but apparently it's not. So let me say, not all Black men. But a lot of you guys really need to take a step back and understand that you cannot be actually for the liberation of Black people if your liberation does not include listening to and acknowledging the experience of Black women, of Black queer women, of the LGBTQIA community as a whole. They are suffering from all sides, because it's not even just the outside world. It's us. It's us who dehumanizes them. And you're not willing to take a step back and look at the ways in which you contribute to that. Do you want us to find a way to unscrew the top of your head and pour the knowledge in to make it easier for you? It's not easy work. It's not easy for anybody to do. It's just there are people who are willing. You're not willing. So what you want us to do? Read a fucking book. Put your phone down and read a book. That's all I got. Y'all, like, comment, subscribe. Sorry this wasn't a fun or funny video. I'm just like not in the mood. So that's all I got.